The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Skagit County Fire District number 13, Washington, on your new Pierce Fire apparatus, job number 42808. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. Starting first with a general view of the apparatus, we'll start now in with the front of the apparatus. And we're going to move up to the very top section with your emergency warning light and then 5 identification clearance lights and a forward-facing floodlight. As we move down from this location, there are 2 windshield wipers across the front windshield. As we move to the front Kenworth handle, this is also the location for your grab handle for tilting the hood, shown here in this image. Just below that, you'll find a Pierce logo, and then also in the front grille area, you'll find 2 emergency warning lights, forward-facing, one on the left and one on the right-hand side. As we move down into the front bumper extension, you'll find a cutout storage location, dry deck material, and Velcro tie-down. Moving on to the face of the front bumper, we'll start first with your electronic siren grille cover. And then moving just to the outer edge of the bumper, you'll find an air horn. Just underneath the front bumper, you'll also find 2 tow hooks. These are intended for operational use, 6,000-pound direct pull. We do have some markers located here on the top arm of the bumper. And then also as we move to the lower section of the bumper, you'll find side-facing emergency warning lights. As we move down to the headlight structure, you'll find high beam and low beam headlights and marker turn indicator. Also, you move around to the side, you'll find turn indicators. As we move up onto the front cowling area, you'll find the air inlet for the engine. And then on the top of the fender area, you'll find your marker turn indicator light. This is on top of the wheel well. Moving now down to your front axle, where you'll find Alcoa wheel and Michelin tires. Moving to the mirror, you're going to find a flat and convex mirror in the lower portion of the A-pillar. Easily accessible with a gloved hand. This is the door lock and latch combination, and then also right next to it is a grab handle. Forward of this location is the cutout section here for your hood release. There's one on the left and right side. You'll also find your certified clean idle from Cummins. As we move just below the door access area, you'll find your fill location for your fuel tank, ultra low sulfur diesel. There are also steps incorporated into the tank. To the rear portion of that, you'll find the blue cap, which is your DEF fill location. Let's go back to the silver cap, which is your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. Also find step lights located at each of those locations for gaining access into the cab. Also at the very bottom section of the step, you'll find some LED lights here for illuminating the ground or walking surface. Let's go ahead and move inside to the door panel, where you'll find a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information. As we move to the top section, window control, door lock control. You'll also find this yellow placard in the vehicle. Located here, you'll find 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, your VIN number, and all your fluid and capacities for that. You'll also find down the very bottom your battery switch, and then also at the floor level, a air horn foot pedal. As we move to the dash itself, we'll start first on the left-hand side with a placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 1 inch, length 32 feet 11 inches, gross vehicle weight rating 56,000 pounds. Moving to the forward section, you'll find your monitor for your backup camera. As we move to the dash itself, general controls here will identify a few of those. Starting first in the upper left-hand corner, you'll find a gauge here for your air filter. Moving to the right, you're going to find your vehicle data recording port. And then just moving down from this location, you're going to find climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Some additional switches are located here. As we move further to the right, you'll find your seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green in the seat and belted. You'll also find this yellow diamond indicating your rear parking brakes for the spring brakes, and then Allison transmission pad, push button, digital readout, along with some cup holders. You'll also find 12-volt access located here just forward of the cup holders. General view here of the console here for your switch panel. We'll break these down individually as we move into the upper left-hand corner at the very top section. All of our color-coded and labeled tally lights, in addition with emergency lights and scene lights. Digital pressure gauge, 12-volt access via USB-A, and then also a wiring information here that there's spare wiring behind the panel. Emergency siren and PA speaker. Resources for storage location. And now let's move to the exterior, to the pump panel area. We'll start first in the upper left-hand corner of the pump panel, where you'll find your 2 crosslays. There are grab handles located at the very top. Just to the left of this is where the crosslays are located. We'll start first now into the gauges, where you'll find your master intake and master discharge gauge. In between the two of those are the vacuum and pressure test gauge ports. They're currently plugged in for testing purposes. Crosslay number 1, crosslay number 2 with a divider. General view here of the upper section of the pump panel. Let's start first in the upper left-hand corner. We'll identify a few items here. First, starting with the front discharge, it is foam capable, and then crosslay 1 and crosslay 2, which are also foam capable, indicating by the red lettering. Rear discharge and then deluge discharge. Also your Husky foam system control module and foam level indicator. Large diameter passenger side discharge. It's a wheel valve, which indicates the wheel increments of the open valve or closed valve position. Water level gauge indicator, and then also number 2 and number 1 passenger and driver side 2.5-inch discharges. Pressure throttle governor. Please see the owner's manual for its operation. Also additional discharges here for 2.5-inch number 1 and 2.5-inch number 3. In between the two of those are the engine cooler. That is a twist, not a pull. We do have some switch panels here and a tally light for OK to pump, panel lights, and then also right-left scene lights. Tank refill and recirculating line. Just below that is the tank to pump. And then we have some additional things. Let's take just a general look here at the lower portion of the pump panel. Let's come back to those placards here. First with your foam system. These are the Husky foam system specifications and then operating instructions. You'll also find your vehicle has a primer. It is an air push to prime, at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices. To the right is the foam fill for draft or tank, and then also a lever and also a inlet outlet. We do have a fire pump drain located on the left and some additional placards here indicating do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. As we move down, you'll find a lift and turn latch will gain you access to your foam fill operations. Behind that panel, you'll find a yellow handle. This is either indicated for operation or for fill position. You'll also find minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi test pressures. Across the very bottom of the pump panel area, you're going to find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains, along with an air inlet and some additional warning placards here indicating pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move to the left, you'll find the driver's side auxiliary inlet drain. Just to the left of this location is the auxiliary inlet. It is a 2.5 locally controlled via the ball valve female coupling. Also back to the Watrous placard indicating the capacity 1,250 GPM. The very bottom of all are color-coded and labeled foam discharge drain and foam intake drain. As we move to the left side of the vehicle, let's start at the very top with the side-facing emergency warning lights. There is one in the forward section area and then also one to the rear. We do have some ground ladders located here on the side of the vehicle. Moving down into the first compartment, you'll find an adjustable shelf, and then also on the rear wall of that compartment is your battery charger. When plugged into shoreline power, this should activate, indicating battery status. Also, you'll find 110 outlet located in this compartment. Just underneath this compartment are your wheel chocks located here. And then as we move just above the compartment area, you'll find a storage location for a 10-foot attic ladder. To the forward section of the rear axle, you'll find a marker turn indicator light. You do have tandem axles located here, Michelin tires, and once again Alcoa wheel. As we move in between the two tandem axles, you'll find lift and turn latch will gain you access into this area where we have SCBA bottle storage with retaining straps for 2 bottles. Back up to that rear upper portion, rear facing side scene light, emergency warning light. Now moving to the rear portion, these are the 2 tubes here for your pike poles. And then also in the lower section, we have an emergency warning light side facing. To the rear compartment roll-up door, you'll find in this compartment with the door rolled up in the next image. And then down at the very bottom section here, you'll find mud flaps behind the tandem axle. Let's move around now to the rear of the apparatus. We'll cover those things next. Starting first at the very top section via the stairs or ladder on the very back here at the top, we have emergency warning lights. Also encompassed in this area, some warning placards here for fall injury when climbing on or off the vehicle. Always face the vehicle, never ride on the vehicle, and entanglement hazard. We do have a cup switch here for your rear hose bed lights. And then on each side, you'll find long storage locations here. This is the storage location where you'll find your rigid drafting tube stored in this space. As we move down, we have a work light and then an emergency warning light, brake, turn, and reverse light cluster. Also in this area, you're going to find your license plate holder and light. As we move to the very top section of the truck, you're going to find a backup camera with a protective housing and then 2 emergency warning lights. This is a location here, direct access into the rear of the apparatus tank. Also 2 tow locations located, one on each side of the frame rail, along with your ladder to go aloft. As we move to the rear running board, embedded in the running board lights in the center, there are 3 identification clearance lights. As we move to the lower section, lower portion of the rear tank, you'll find your dump valve. There is also a safety mechanism, which is the red handle, and then also the main valve, which is the black handle. You'll also find that your chute does have an extension on it, and then also rotate left to right. Also, you'll find a direct tank fill. This is a 2.5 inch, locally controlled via the ball valve. Also, you'll find a 2.5 inch discharge, just as a reminder, warning placard indicating pressure hazard. We're now to the passenger side rear, where you'll find lift and turn latch gains you access for the hose storage for your drafting hose. Also just below this area, a work light, in addition with emergency warning, brake, turn, and reverse lights. Let's move around now to the passenger side of the vehicle. We'll start at the very top section rear area, and we'll find first emergency warning light in the upper left-hand corner, and then also a side-facing scene light in the very upper corner. As we move down, you'll find the equipment rack, which is housing a porta-tank. In the lower section, roll-up compartment door for storage. Just forward of this location, you'll find an emergency warning light. Same configuration and layout within the tandem area. We have the Michelin tires Alcoa wheel. In between the 2 tandems, we'll find bottle storage for 2 SCBA bottles with retaining straps. Forward of the tandem axle, you'll find a marker turn indicator light, also a forward compartment. Let's take a look at the very top section where you'll find a side-facing scene light. And then also, as we'll move down to the equipment rack, once again, the equipment rack is housing your porta-tank. Down to the lower compartment, where you'll find a roll-up compartment door. Inside this compartment, we have an adjustable shelf and LED lighting. Moving now to the midsection of the pump panel, we'll start at the very top section where we have some grab handles for gaining access and a step with marking diamonds on the walking surface. As we move forward to that location, these are the 2 crosslays, crosslay 1 and crosslay 2. As we move down onto the face of the panel, you'll find we have an access door here and then also some warning placards, first indicating entanglement hazard because those lines coming from aloft. This is also the location for your powered equipment rack module. There's also instructions to operate up and down, and then also some danger information, along with a warning placard here indicating fall, always climb on or off the vehicle by facing the vehicle. As we move into the pan door, this will give access to the pump panel area for inspection. Also at the very top, a dome light with a switch. Moving down from this location, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge, along with a large diameter discharge. And then also just below that discharge is where you'll find a pan door. The pan door is access, so you can gain access behind the panel for your relief valve located here. Let's move just to the right of this location where you'll find the American flag Eagle Pierce logo. This is your large diameter pump inlet. And across the very bottom section of the pump panel, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's take a look just to the left of this location to the vertical surface where you'll find 2 fold-down steps for gaining access. And then we'll move now into the cab area. Same configuration and layout. First, starting with a downward convex mirror. This is directly over the passenger door, along with your mirror housing flat and convex mirror on the A-pillar. As we move into the grab handle, once again easily accessible with a gloved hand, and it is keyed, and then also a grab handle. These are the lower section of the door. These are the LED lights illuminating the stepping surface for your step here in this space. Let's move to the forward section where you'll find an air inlet. This is the forward section of the engine cover. To the rear portion of the fender, you'll find a recessed location here for your latch for gaining access into the engine space. You'll also find in the fender a marker turn indicator, and then moving on to the front axle, you'll find Alcoa wheel and Michelin tire. Moving now to the headlight structure, low beam and high beam, marker turn indicator. You'll also find in the lower section a marker turn indicator, and then in the forward section of the engine cowling, a side-facing emergency warning light. Also in the bumper section, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light, and also a swivel large diameter 2.5-inch foam capable discharge. As we move to the marker or feelers, this is the LED light on the very top section of that. And then as we move into the face of the front bumper, you'll find a horn, electronic siren, and then tow hook. Congratulations, Skagit County Fire District 13, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 42808. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.